You know that person who just vanished? No big fight, no dramatic exit. One day they're texting, showing up, being present, and then slowly, quietly, they're just gone. Unanswered messages, declined invitations, radio silence. And everyone's asking, what happened? Did I do something wrong? Here's what nobody tells you. People who quietly disappear aren't running from you. They're running toward themselves. And psychology shows this silent exit isn't weakness. It's one of the most misunderstood forms of self-preservation. Let's start with what's actually happening in their brain. When someone begins to fade away, it's often because their nervous system has hit a limit. Psychologists call this compassion fatigue, but it goes deeper than that. Your brain has a finite amount of social energy. Think of it like a battery that drains with every interaction, every expectation, every performance you put on to keep people comfortable. Most people recharge that battery through connection, but some people, their battery only recharges in complete solitude. And when it hits zero, the only option left is to withdraw completely. Here's the part that sounds harsh, but is actually protective. People who quietly disappear often have what researchers call high emotional permeability. They absorb everything. Your stress becomes their stress. Your problems become their problems. They can't just listen to your bad day and move on. They carry it. And after years of being everyone's emotional support system, their mind finally says, enough, we need to survive. So they stop answering. Not because they stopped caring, because they started caring about themselves. But there's another reason people vanish, and this one cuts deeper. Sometimes the disappearing act comes from a painful realization. They looked around and noticed something. Nobody asks how they're doing. Nobody checks in. The relationships feel one-sided. Psychology calls this relational inequity, and the brain tracks it like a ledger. When the giving far outweighs the receiving, resentment builds silently. They don't explode, they don't confront, they just stop participating. Because why keep showing up for people who only notice you when you're gone? And here's what's fascinating. People who quietly disappear often score high on something called autonomy orientation. They don't need external validation to feel whole. They've learned to be self-sufficient emotionally. So when a friendship or relationship stops nourishing them, they don't fight for it out of fear of being alone. They choose solitude over shallow connection. That's not coldness, that's clarity. There's also a trauma component nobody talks about. People who've been betrayed, abandoned, or repeatedly disappointed develop something psychologists call preemptive withdrawal. Their brain learns to leave before they get left. It's a survival strategy. Distance yourself first and you control the pain. You can't be blindsided if you're already gone. But here's the truth that matters most. If someone quietly disappeared from your life, it doesn't always mean you did something wrong. It might just mean they're protecting something you can't see. Their energy, their peace, their mental space. And sometimes the kindest thing you can do is let them go. Because the people who need to disappear aren't lost. They're finding themselves in the silence. And maybe, just maybe, that's exactly where they need to be. So, tell me, have you ever been the person who quietly disappeared? Drop your story in the comments. And if you want more psychology that explains the patterns nobody talks about, hit subscribe, because the next video might explain the version of you that you've never been able to put into words.